Okay. I can't even get into the Zoom account. I just had to go look up Julie's uh, invite and get on that way. And I tried to pull it up. Didn't see my Zoom password. It didn't want the Zoom password that I had. It's making me crazy. And then when I created a new one, it logged me in as a non-pro account. And I'm just not going to deal with it right now. Can't hear me? Oh, well, I'm not muted.
Yeah,
The
yes, we
recording
do.
has begun, Alice.
Yes, the meeting will now come to order at what's the time?
5 p.m.
5 p.m. Oh gosh, hold on a second. What to do with my agenda? I'm looking at the wrong piece of paper here. Okay, here we go. Okay, the League of Women Voters Corpus Christi area is a nonpartisan grassroots civic organization that encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. And Liz, would you please call the roll and verify a quorum, please?
Yes, let me check off everybody who, as they're coming in, I'm trying to get everybody. Okay, all righty. Alice,
Here.
Sandy, Sylvia,
Here.
Alex,
Here.
Julie,
Here.
Julie's here, okay. Eli,
Here. Excuse me, here.
Eli's here, Eli's here, okay. Brittany, I just saw her.
Here.
Brittany's here, and Tim is here. Well, I'm sorry. Tim, are you here? Okay. And then the guests that I have listed, or I'm looking at, are Catherine.
Yeah,
She's not a guest. She's really part of the board, unofficial.
Yeah, you're right.
No, unofficial.
misspoke.
I don't.
Sorry.
I
Yeah,
misspoke.
ex officio.
Catherine, Chris,
Yes.
Ruth, Anel, Sally. Okay. All right. We have a quorum with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have a quorum with 9 people. All voting members are here.
Okay, we're going to get the minutes approved. I do believe that Liz sent out the minutes and asked that everybody look at them. And does anybody have any corrections or additions to those minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Been moved to approve. Second,
Julie Rogers, second.
Julie Rogers has second. All in favor, let it be shown by raising your hand on the screen. Motion carried. Brittany, I'm assuming that you're raising your hand, right?
Yes, I am. I couldn't find the raise your hand. Oh,
Okay. Okay, yeah, you can raise your hand with the icon or literally raise your hand. That'd be fine. Okay, we are now at the treasurer's report. Miss Sandy, would you give us an update on the balance in treasure? Any activity?
The last one here. You got the last 5 or 6 months simply because I haven't been at the last couple of meetings and you can do with them what you want. There may have been minor corrections in terms of places where it referred to August when it shouldn't have. But the January financial statement that I've got here shows we started the month with $11,765.46 and ended with just a couple hundred more at $11,982.81. I have not seen if they have come in the bills for the voter's guide, translation, etc. But that will be the next big item, I'm sure.
Right. Um, Alex, did you get a invoice or anything from the vendors?
No, not yet, but I'll email them tomorrow and see what's going on.
Okay, well, that's fine. We're not, in a rush. We just kind of want to stay on top of that so we'll know what our expenses are going to be.
Yeah.
So here we're down now to our reports. First of all, I want to thank Julie for sending in her report. I believe there was another report sent in. I don't know who it was. If you sent in a written report, please raise your hand. Okay, all right. Yes, Elizabeth sent in her report and so did Sylvia. I pulled off Julie's. I just didn't pull off the rest, but we'll just start with Julie for the program report. And we're going to try to stick to as closely to our minutes or to your reports and to the numbers on the page. If you go over, we're not going to beat you up about it, but just be mindful of our time because everybody wants to jump off as soon as possible. But we do have to
Yeah.
talk about it. Yes.
Madam President, I'm sorry, I should have said this earlier, but I do have a 6 o'clock meeting, so, but my report is very quick, so.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Julie?
This should be too, especially since everyone got it. So just look it over. It tells
Yeah.
what we did in January 2023. What we did in January, and I think everybody knows that. The big thing to know is that the next library board meeting is Tuesday, February 6th. That's tomorrow at 10:30 at La Retama. We've been having interested observer corps people go in there, so we need to keep doing that. And I'll be there for sure. I know some other people will be. The meetings aren't streamed, so you need to go in person. And if you want to make public comment, you can't be an observer, and that's no problem. You choose which one you want to do. Then it lets you know, and I've said it over and over, that there are not going to be book bans. There are going to be challenges, though, and it will be to relocate books. And then I sent some talking points in the report. So just look at those really. And the main thing, though, that is that Friends of the Library, Jennifer Anderson, did get appointed. So congratulations to her and everyone else. That is a really big deal and a victory for the community. So it shows that collective action works, and we should share that story with people. The next thing is we have a membership meeting coming up, and that's remember now on second Saturdays. It's at La Retama from 10:30 to noon. Thank you, President Hawkins, for bringing the donuts and everything last time. We need to get coffee there. I know one time Alex said maybe she could bring coffee to a meeting. Could you bring coffee on Saturday?
Yeah, I can. How much for how many people?
I would say 20.
20? Okay.
Yeah.
And I do have just in addition to that, so the statewide race voter guides came in today. So I came home to a bunch of boxes on my porch. So I'm gonna bring them to the meeting.
That's the big deal.
Yeah, and hopefully I can get like my stuff together. My parents are coming to town tomorrow, so I'm taking the end of the week off, but
Yeah.
I want to try and get like the locations and like maybe at the meeting we can break them into their little stacks and people can grab them because that would make
That's perfect.
everyone's life easier.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
why we changed to second Saturday, and that was the whole idea, was to move people to action and get people involved. Oh my God, this day is just full of good news. So President Hawkins is going to run the meeting, and it's business, and she knew going into this our new like kind of meeting format, like we're looking to move people to action, so we got it. Woo. we'll work together more on that then. No big deal. I don't want to take up a lot of time because really we know what right now with program the fight is for our First Amendment rights. And I just ask people to please frame it that way. We don't want to be divisive. And it's the best way to talk about what's going on right now is that we have First Amendment rights and everyone should be represented and look at our DE&I policy. And no need to like frame it using other groups and stuff like that because that's folks, they're looking for a fight to be divided, and that's not what we're looking for. We're fighting for democracy. So I think our biggest part of now and the rest of the year is really about voting and moving people to action. And with that, I think the report's done. Just please look at what I sent and go to public comment, go to library board meetings.
Who typically sends out the email about like second Saturday to like all membership? Sylvia? Okay.
She's done a great
You're
job.
muted.
I do. Yeah.
Would you
Go
would
ahead.
you be able to add, Sylvia, just that we have our voter guides and we're gonna be putting them in their piles and people can take them and we can start delivering them ASAP?
Oh, yeah. Do we have how many? How many?
Oh gosh, it was the free amount. So I believe
It was, wasn't it 2,000, 1,000?
yeah, I think it was 1,000 Spanish, 1,000 English.
Yes, 1,000 English, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
such
And then
a
we
big
added
deal.
more.
Yeah, well, yeah, I for sure
just-
will include that and include that we still need volunteers, right, to distribute all those.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the best thing. It's going to really help people. That's what we're trying to do is engage our membership and not have it be top heavy. And we've made some really good strides this year. Thank y'all.
Remember
Okay,
I was
the
thinking we got to
local
go all
guides,
the way to Robstown, right?
Yes.
the local guides will be behind that, this state guides. So we'll need
That's a
to
good
marshal
deal.
another group, Alex, to go with your list later in a few days, hopefully.
or
Well,
do you
that's
think,
good. This will be like get everybody like round up and get everybody started.
so y'all don't think, okay, we're gonna be receiving the local ones a few days later, you don't think? Or
They're
what?
still in progress. We just, Alex just notified me that the early voting sites were just announced on today's website at the county. And we're still waiting for all the voting stations. I mean, that's 3 pages worth of stuff in each one of the guides. So I'm still adding,
Okay,
the early voting will go in tonight, but I'm still working to finish those up. We
okay,
didn't hear from a few candidates, and so pages are having to be adjusted a little bit. We've got most of our English version fillers done, but even with regard to translation, Alex knows we may still need a few more translation things depending on how space falls in the guide. So I'm working hard on that.
okay.
That's a big deal. Thank you. And my report's
Mhm.
over and go. Thank you, President.
Welcome. So Alex, you jumped in. Do you, when Julie was speaking, do you want to finish up or have you said everything? You're welcome to go.
Yeah, I can. Sorry, I wanted to connect those two before we like lost it. So yeah, sorry I sent my report a little late. We were busy with work with last day to register to vote. But yeah, so my report is very short. So Spanish voter guide translations are complete, and they've been sent to Chris, which Chris said, and Chris is working on layout and last minute additions. Tentatively, we would like to be receiving these finished printed guides on February 12th, but again, that depends on what's going on, just kind of with everything. And then hopefully, again, tentatively delivering those guides February 13th to the 15th. So that is next week. And I'll actually be in New Orleans at that point. So, yeah.
And Alex, the delivery from Houston, I'm still working with them and
Yeah.
they've been very supportive, but
Oh, great.
they're printing the Austin guides and the Houston guides. Ours is a much smaller quantity.
Yeah.
I will be delighted if we can get them out by the 18th or 19th
Okay.
before early voting starts on the 21st. That's really the
Okay,
drop
cool.
dead date, as far as I'm concerned, as a volunteer helping. But
Perfect.
Actually,
it's running slower.
20th.
It's running slower than usual with the double issue.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I think if as long as we get it out before early voting or with early voting, that's perfect. And we can get it published online before that. So people can
Yes,
still obviously
absolutely.
access it then. And I put on here all hands on deck to get guides delivered. I wrote this before I got all the guides. That's funny. And I put on here, this would be a thing with Brittany and obviously with our funding, but I would love to get like a little flyer or a little like handout with a QR code, possibly in English and Spanish, where people can access our online voter guide. I think that would be good, even if we don't get it for the primary election, but to just start, I think, having those at every location, like a stack of 20, 50, whatever. I would really like to do that. And then the VR push at high schools, universities, and in the community went extremely, extremely well. Thank you to everyone who's been helping, and also to Liz. I did our numbers, and we have around 500 people registered in 2024, which is nuts. Yeah, so that's really cool. And then I put on here prep to begin ASAP for general voter guide and candidate forum. That'll be me and Eli getting to it again. Eli's been an incredibly supportive and helpful through all of this. So even though I'm voter services VP, Eli has been just right there at the same level as me. So I want to applaud Eli for their help. And then I put on here statewide voter guides should arrive today, ? But obviously they did arrive. So I wrote this before I got home. So we have them, and I will bring them to second Saturday, and I will also be able to provide coffee for that. So that's all I have. And I know Liz also has a report, and I looked it over, so I didn't want us to overlap on stuff. But that's what, oh, and Sandy, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just curious because I know in the past we've had some issues, especially with local Republicans answering. Did we get a good response from the Republican community as well this time?
We did, yeah. I think we got maybe 8 who did not respond. And if I'm correct, they were all Republican, or I think one was a Democrat, or thank you. Yeah, all were Republican. I mean, that's pretty comparable to previous years. We did get some Republicans who didn't answer in previous years who did answer us, like Michael Cloud. So that's kind of cool. But I think coming into the general election, Eli and I will be able to really knock on some doors and have more of a relationship with these people. So hopefully we can get even more answers for the general election.
And maybe at some point in time, we might be able to get together and just have a meeting of all the candidates in advance of them responding, if they are willing to do that. But if we can't do that, then we can always send them an email so that we can actually say that proof positive that we did reach out. So, Sylvia?
May I also suggest that maybe at some point that the League of Women Voters ask to attend one of the Republican meetings and just say, where we're providing a service. We would, encourage all the candidates to participate in the voter guide, because really it's to inform the voters. So besides sending an email, I think it, would behoove us to also extend an invitation to them, and to also, of course, encourage them to join. I mean, I don't think the league has ever gone to either party, the Democrat or the Republican. So that might be another way to encourage membership. Just thinking how to increase more membership as well. So just an idea.
Outreach.
Outreach.
Actually, outreach. Yeah, we won't know if we don't make the moves and invite people to be a part of our group and push the narrative that we are nonpartisan, and try to get those people who are reluctant to come and visit with us, join our group, just basically be a part of the group. We need to reach out, and we need to be proactive and push our narrative of nonpartisan.
Yes.
And when we speak in public and all of that, we need to be mindful of our language. Chris, thank you for the heads up a few days back. Appreciate that. about the candidness of our text thread. So we need to do that. We need to be mindful, even though some of the things that, we don't always say the quiet part out loud. We just need to not say that. So I appreciate that. It hadn't dawned on me, but I do appreciate that. And watching TV and what's going on out there, text messages, emails can be sequestered and called for. So let's kind of be mindful of that. I don't see any additional hands up. Alex, was that all you had to say? Did you have anything else to add?
I think that's all I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And I just want to right now just give a shout out to Alex and Eli for the diligence and Chris, because they worked so closely as a team. And I think that what happened, yes, give them a hand. What happened, I was watching the threads. I had asked to be put on their talking list. And so I watched it, and they were really getting after it. And I really appreciate you guys. I know that everybody is busy. So thank you so much for all the hard work you did. And Chris, you are a part of that group. And I thank you for your diligence in preparing all that paperwork and getting those questions and that layout done. So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that. All right. So we are down to diversity, equity, and inclusion with Ms. Eli.
I need to do my
Yes.
little spiel too with the voter stuff, with voter registration.
Okay. Well, let
Okay.
me let Eli go, and then I'll come back to you.
Okay, go ahead and let Eli and Sylvia go, because I know everybody's got to leave, so I can wait. Not a problem.
Well, mine will be quick today, y'all. I don't have any graphics to share or any real education to share today either. But I did want to let folks know that I hosted the first DE&I committee meeting. I only had one attendee, but I do appreciate that person for showing up. And we're gonna do it again next month and try to get more business completed if we can get a couple more people on the committee. So if anyone has interest, that would be great. Please join us the 21st at 4 p.m. That's a Wednesday here at my office, 702 Furman. And I have a pretty good agenda that I had in place for the first meeting. I went over it with the person who was there. So I think I'll just stick with it and try to get that second meeting and try to get some things moving when a little bit more people show up. I'm hoping for at least 4 people at least on this committee, if not more. So if y'all know folks who might be interested and aren't on the board or don't come to all the things, please give them my information. I'm happy to chat with anybody who may have questions on it. And that's all I have.
Eli,
Thank you.
is that February 21st or March 21st?
February the 21st at 4
Okay.
p.m.
Okay, thank
at
you.
702 Furman.
Thank you.
And in case anyone missed in the chat, Brittany does have to leave at 5:30, so maybe Brittany can go next.
Sure. And Sylvia says she's got to leave too.
Brittany?
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, I don't have much of a report. I don't have any formal report. Alex, as you mentioned, about the flyer and the QR code, if you just want to send me information on that, as well as creating an image or a graphic for the DEI meetings. So if it's going to be like, if you know like what day each month it will be, then I can just have those already put up and post those. Yeah, that's about the website social media report. I will update the website now that the early voting locations are up there. So I'll just be swapping out old information from the previous template that's on there and then update the voter information.
Okay, thank you, Brittany. And thank you, Brittany, for doing all that stuff that I asked you to do. I know I'm a night owl. My brain doesn't even start working till 5 p.m. So thank you for accommodating me with the things
No
that I've
problem.
asked of you, and I appreciate that. And you got a lot of thumbs up. We appreciate you. The website looks great. Okay, anybody else need to speak up before you leave? We do have some legal business to take care of where we're gonna have to take a vote, so I just want to make sure we have enough people to do that.
I just
Okay.
wanted to give a props to Brittany and to Alice. Those Facebook posts were so awesome. Alice, the city of Corpus Christi interview was just unbelievable. It was so just moving. Thank you so much. And then I did look at Pudge today, and that was you did really well with that too. I wanted to thank y'all both.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been kind of busy promoting not only Black History, but also our voter guides and all the things that we're doing with the league. And my appearance on Pudge this morning was primarily
And
to talk about February 5th being the deadline and giving a few ideas on people needing to check their the status of their voter registration and all that. We had a good time on Pudge this morning. It was a good show this morning, if I have to say.
good. And
Yeah.
then also Sylvia and Alice, thank y'all for Domingo Live. I love that show, and y'all were awesome in your sessions.
And,
I'm
and I,
glad,
and I
I'm
just
glad
want,
you were able to do it because they sent me the information on Thursday, the Thursday before the Sunday. So I'm so glad y'all were able to do it. It was very last minute on their part.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
and just to encourage, because even I have to be reminded even about the sash. We wore the sash on Sunday, and as I was wearing it, I was asked why, why was I wearing it? And again, it's a reminder. I think it was actually the next day. So if we can, if it's possible, if we can encourage each
Represent.
other to wear the sash, especially right now during February, if we can wear it, people will say, well, what's that for? And then you can remind them, hey, early voting begins 2/21, just this is another good way to promote our organization and again to promote membership. I'm trying, guys.
Yes. And it's a
Okay.
conversation starter.
Yeah.
That started our conversation this morning on Pudge's show. And as Sylvia was saying, those ladies and those people in the studio, they were also inquiring about the sashes and making comments about them. So the sash is a way to draw attention to ourselves and to our organization and what we're trying to do.
Yes. All right. So
All right.
I guess it's my turn, right?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, quickly, 527. All right, mine is really quick. We have 118 members right now, 37 two-member households, Friends of the League, we have 2. Individual, we have 59, lifetime 1, student 3, and sustaining 16. All of y'all should have received the report. Is that right? I hope.
Yes.
Okay, I send every month, I try to make sure that all of y'all at least receive the current membership, and now the last couple of months, I'm sending you the lapsed ones. Because we're not giving up on those members that have expired or have lapsed. And right now it's 107. We know some of them are not gonna come back, but President and I were speaking and we were trying to figure out another way to, try to encourage people to come back. And we have tried calling, we have tried texting, we have tried emailing. And so now we're gonna go back to old school. We're gonna create a letter or, we'll create a letter to encourage them to come back by mail. We'll actually do a mail and send out to some of those membership. Alice and I can go through the list, but you can also go through it and make your own, crossing out. I know most of them, the ones that we need to not, we don't have to contact because they're already, they're not able to rejoin us. But anyway, that's going to be the next attempt to try to encourage membership. And of course, I want to thank the volunteers. Every month, whenever we are asked, it's always, you don't know, I don't know who's going to be able to help. But this month we were able to get, let's see, Rebecca Farias, Jeannie Lemley, Jerry Tippin, of course, myself and Alice Hawkins to call all those 118 members and encourage them to come to the, to our meeting. And I think that's still a good way to, to encourage attendance. And we'll continue to do that as much as we can. Sometimes it can't happen, but if we have something really important, we'll make sure and make that extra effort. So that's it for me. Oh, that was in 3 minutes. Woo!
Sylvia,
Okay, thank you,
just wanna-
Sylvia.
I just want
Appreciate
to
that.
add that when we made telephone calls to some of those lapsed members, a lot of the ones I called rejoined. So I think those telephone calls to the lapsed members are a good thing, especially if you know them.
Yeah, I did include that in my report, that if y'all see that they still haven't rejoined, because I'm gonna be sending that lapsed membership. So they may tell you, and I'm sorry to, break the bubble, but some people will say, oh yeah, I'll rejoin, and then they haven't rejoined. So again, it's another way to say, oh, maybe you forgot or so yes, I strongly encourage you to, if especially like you, Sandy, you know how hard it is. I mean, to not, to make the time to take the time to make those calls. And if you already have a relationship with them, a lot of times, again, it's not that hard to get them back and say, hey, remember, did you forget? So the list is there. Y'all want to take the time to call, every whoever you think you want to call, just let me know or let us know and just do it. Because it's the personal touch that
Yes.
goes a long way.
All right. Thank you, Sylvia. Communications, Tim, did you want to have something to say? I don't know if you are officially resigned or if you're still standing in. I'm not sure what to say or how to phrase this. So help me out here.
Sure. Well, I am resigning effective the end of the month, and I thank Chris for taking over for me. And so I very much appreciate that. I did just want to pass on a couple things. I was one of the folks who helped out at LWVCCA. I could only spare one day getting ready to move, but I want to let you guys know that Alex is just super effective. She's really good. She's just has it all down. She's a real good speaker. You could tell she's really communicating with the kids real well. So we're real blessed to have her in that role. Another thing I wanted to pass on to you, I was talking to an experienced local politician a couple days ago, and he said that Robstown traditionally would have about 3,000 voters in a general election. And for some reason, it's down to 1,000. So I don't know what we can do to get those folks over there voting at the rate that they used to vote. As I think probably everybody on the call knows, there's more folks there who maybe only Spanish speakers over there than there are in Corpus Christi. So maybe we ought to send a disproportionate percentage of the voter guides in Spanish to Robstown than we might otherwise. But anyway, I was surprised that the election total dropped by 2/3. That was pretty shocking. And it will be my last meeting. I just wanted to say I've enjoyed working with all you guys so much. And when I get over to Maryland or Virginia, wherever I end up, I'm going to look for another League of Women Voters over there to get involved with. But I'll be shocked if they're as effective and as good as this group. And I know their leadership won't be as good. And I'm thinking of you, Alice, and in our prior
That's
program.
nice.
So
We actually have some very good leaders in this group. I have learned so much from almost everybody in the group. And collectively, we are strong. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. We have professional people and it shows in our effectiveness in everything we do. So thank you, Tim. I want to thank you again for all the work that you did for us. And I'm hoping that you can come back this way for whatever reason. I'm not gonna wish anything negative, but if the spirit moves you, come on back home.
well, we might not tolerate the cold as well as we think. So there's a little slight chance that we'll be back. We'll see.
All right. Well, we'll be looking forward and we'll be rolling out the welcome home mat for you.
Thank you,
All right,
Allison.
thank you,
Okay.
Tim. Thank you so much. And I want to thank Chris for being willing to step into your shoes and carry on with what we've done. I want to stop right here because that's kind of at the end of our reports, but I just want to thank everybody for the public comments that we had down at City Hall. Things didn't go our way, but you know what? We made an impact. And if we keep beating drums for whatever issues that we are passionate about, we're going to make a difference. And even I believe that even getting on that library board appointment thing made a difference. I think we put them to shame, and the voting came in just enough to get our person involved in that. So I just want to thank everybody for taking the time out to go down to City Hall and have your say, because that's where we make a difference. And I mean, the building was packed. The building was packed. Tuesday on top, over Tuesday on over Tuesday. So I just wanted to thank everybody down there and doing that. I was thinking maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there, it doesn't need any comment, but maybe we need to get some type of a group together that can beat the bushes for us to find people to have some helping hands and all of our other community committees, so that we can maybe do a little more, do a little better. And we'll talk about that in the future. I think that those are all of the reports. I do have some things that I need to talk about and bring to your attention, or bring forth to the group. One of the first things, and I got a lot of notes here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to parse them out like I thought I was. You get all these notes down, and then all of a sudden you don't know where you are. But I did want to talk a little bit about some actual housekeeping things that we need to take care of. First of all, at the meeting that we had at the library, we did a vote to move some monies. And the next meeting, we will go back in and officiate that, because it's supposed, based on what I read in the rules and regulations, we should go back in and solidify that, if that's really not the best word I'm looking for, but we need to go back in and have a vote on that. So I know that you got the minutes, Liz, from all of that, but at the next open meeting, at the next general meeting, we need to do that. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that we need to do that. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and first of all, Liz, I know that you have often expressed how much you love signing up people. And before I say that, the other issue is that all of those voter registration drives, again, I just cannot say thank you enough for all of the things that you guys have done in terms of trying to get our people registered. And the next initiative that I want to see us try to get going is getting out the vote, getting those that we have signed up to go and actually cast a vote. Now, I know that this primaries historically are small. People don't go out and vote that much. Now, we did have last year, when the amendments were there, we had pretty good turnout. And but the primaries typically don't draw a lot of people. But we do have enough time between now and November to make a dent, or have an effect on all of those people that we have signed up and registered to vote. And I would hope that we can get a pool of ideas in the next month or two after the primary, so that we can start incorporating them and making sure that we can get these people out to vote in November. Okay, the next thing on my agenda that I want to talk about is there's some Liz, as I was saying, I know you had often said you love to do the voter registration, and I am so pleased and proud that you were willing to take on that job. And of course, it has been shown that you have been effective. And I know Alex was kind of drowning with a lot on her shoulders because that's all a part of voter services. However, we do need to make you, Elizabeth, an official committee chair. We can't, according to the rules that I read and the regulations, your appointment as a chairperson for that position needs to be board approved. So, and in the future, we'll make sure that we go through that process for new chairmen so that it'll be part of the record. So as a result, what I'd like to do today is to officially appoint you as the voter registration chair and have the group, the committee approve that. And so let the record show that Elizabeth is officially appointed the voter registration chairperson. And if you have anybody has anything to add to that, I want you to weigh in now. But otherwise, do I have an agreement that we will be approving Elizabeth as our voter registration chair? And I don't know if we need to take it through an official vote, but I would like to see a
Right,
raise of hands that
yeah.
are in agreement with Elizabeth being our chair.
Well, I think, Madam President, that officially, I think we would need to just nominate her and somebody second her and then vote, right? I mean, I think officially that's what I'm thinking.
Well, I read that the appointments come through the president and
Oh,
with the approval, and that's
okay,
why
well
it's in.
then we don't need to.
No.
Then,
So are we all in agreement?
yes,
Okay. It's been in a unanimous agreement that Miss Elizabeth Riggle will be our voter registration chair. So if, in the
congratulations.
future, excuse me.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Liz. I know you got off the ground before we actually were able to do that, but in the future, if we do have new committee chairs or somebody is dying to be a committee chair, just let us know and we'll take that through the official channels because we need all hands on deck. And I say that all the time, so y'all have to understand that. All right. The other thing, women needs to be okay. I got that one taken care of. And something else I wanted to visit with you guys about. Also, we'll need to and that earlier that I spoke of was the budget amendment. Is I didn't put that word out there, but it's the budget amendment that we made at the general membership meeting at Del Mar College. So the record should show that we will be officially doing the budget amendment at the library at our next general meeting.
Okay, I have not seen any minutes on that, so I have not had a clue what.
Okay.
I just, in
Okay,
fact,
well, let me,
sent an email or a text to Liz saying, can I get
Oh.
those minutes? Because I don't know
No.
what to do with them.
No, don't send it to me. Eli took those minutes. I can't come to second Saturday meetings. I'm sorry. My schedule through May is those Saturdays are booked visiting family. I'm sorry. I didn't know we were moving to the second Saturdays and my airline stuff is booked. Eli took extremely comprehensive minutes. So,
Okay.
and she sent them out. So Eli, if
No,
you
she
wouldn't
did
mind
not.
resending
No,
them.
did you send them out, Eli? She should
She
have
sent,
sent those minutes to you.
yeah,
And
she
you
sent them to me, but
I sent them to Alice and to Liz.
Okay,
Eli,
I got them, and I thought that, Liz, that you were going to download them and send them out. Okay, well, that's your job, is to download them and send them out. And you can have some time to do that, but
Well,
all of that,
if,
uh,
if Eli would just go ahead and send them out again to everybody
no,
because she's
no,
got
no,
them.
no,
I don't
no,
have them.
because, but here's the deal. Everything that goes on in those meetings does not have to be in the minutes. Okay, but the important things like votes that we take, anything that's official, anything that has to do with budget and all that, that should be in those minutes. The minutes really don't have to encapsulate every single word that everybody says. I will get those minutes. I will take a look at them. And Sandra, I will make sure that you get a copy of that. And I'll also give you a call and explain in detail what we did. Okay. There was an amendment to, there was a motion to move some monies from the general fund over to, for the printing of our voter guides. And that,
I think all that needs to be done is the budget needs to be amended, but I
that's
can
what I'm
talk to
talking
Annelle
about.
and make sure I'm correct on that.
That's what I'm talking about at the next meeting. We will clean that up at the next meeting. According to, I looked at the policies, according to the policies, from one meeting to the next, we will make that official. But I want you to see that before you leave, before we have that meeting, okay? Any
Thanks.
other questions? Yes, Eli?
Do you want me to just send that out in an email to you and Liz? And
Well,
do you want
I
me to
thought you
copy?
sent that to me. Did you send that to me?
I think I did, but I have it pulled up. I could send it so it's at the top of y'all's inbox if you'd like.
Could you
That would be
send
great.
it to me too?
That would be great.
Yes. I'll send it to, excuse me, I'll send it to the three of y'all.
Okay,
That would be
Alex,
great.
also. Yes.
Okay.
As long-
Julie?
Yes.
sorry.
Just when we send out the invite or a reminder that we have a meeting on Saturday, I think we have to announce that we're voting on the amended budget. Like, it's good it's on the record here, but I believe it needs to be on the record to the membership as well.
And I think you're right. I did read something like that. The rules also say that if we do something in one meeting, then we need to ratify it in the next meeting. But
Yeah, and I mean, that's all it has
we
to
can
be.
send
Is
that
like, we
out.
voted on this to get the voter guides in Spanish. And now we need to follow up with the second
Yes.
vote, but it has to be on the record more than in this meeting.
I saw that. I was looking at that somewhere. Okay, I'm going to read that. It says amendments to the budget may be made provided. Number one, proposed changes have been sent to all members at least 2 weeks prior to the general meeting at which the change is to be discussed. But we didn't do that because it was somewhat of an emergency that we would, bring the funds together so we would actually have the money. Because up until that point, we really didn't know what it was going to cost us. And that's Alex was kind of talking that to make sure we could get what it would cost. And I think Chris was talking to the Houston people, and we really didn't get any firm information on cost until about a week before we had the meeting.
No, I
And
think it's fine. That's
so
what
that's
needs to
then
be said. That's what needs to be put out. It
exactly.
was in the records. It's captured. It was an emergency vote. And now
Yes.
we actually have to do 2 more votes. I think we have to do, that was an emergency vote, and we need to just amend the budget and then have a second vote on the amended budget. We can talk about it more. It's not a problem. It's just making sure everything is on the record.
I'm not
Like
sure
you
we
were
got
saying.
it out in time for this meeting, the 10-day before, but it doesn't matter because we can always ratify what has already been done.
We
Well,
actually are following a fine timeline. The other was declared as an emergency. This is a brand new vote, just to follow it up. And then the next one would be the 2 weeks before. So as long as we keep communicating about it that way, it's fine.
And it's in the meeting, I mean, in the minutes, that we
Yeah.
were going to follow up with that. That was in the minutes. I made that clear. So,
So it's
so when
fine.
you
We can
get,
work on that reminder meeting, and there's that, and there's picking up the voter guide. So
yes,
it's just making sure, so that we're doing everything what it says in the bylaws, which is what you're doing.
yes,
Everything's
well,
fine. It's all recorded.
policy is our best friend. If we don't have policy, then, we might have some problems. So, that was, one thing that I wanted to have a discussion on. And the other thing here, that I wanted to talk about is, we through email, which we are allowed to do, we actually put, Sally Ferris and, what was it? Sally and was it? Oh, Sally and Eli on that nominating committee. According to looking deeper into the rules and regulations, the policy, the two people that should have been put on there should have both been executive committee members. One was not. And so Sally has sent me her resignation for the nominating committee because we discovered that on a deeper read that that was not viable. So I talked with Sylvia, who has agreed. She's been on that nominating committee before, and I talked with Sylvia and asked her if she would allow her name to be placed on the nominating committee, and she has agreed. One of the things, and I've been talking with Ruth about the nominating committee also, and they have pretty much got a good lineup. They're still waiting for some people to respond, but most of the work for the nominating committee has pretty much been done. And now they're polling the people that they have on this lineup. And should any of them at any given time agree to participate or agree to be placed in office, then we will have that done. So I know Sylvia is really busy. And so there's not a whole lot of work that Sylvia needs to do in terms of getting things, because Ruth is on top of this. She's been very good about talking to people and getting a lineup for our midterm elections. So I just wanted to bring this to you, and we can do it by way of an agreement, a vote to accept the Sally's resignation and place Sylvia's name, Sylvia Campos, on the list as the second board member for the nominating committee. So we need to vote on that. And we need to have a statement, and then we need to take a vote.
Okay. All right, I make a motion that we accept Sally's resignation from the nominating committee.
And
Oh, we're gonna do them together? Oh,
yeah, we
okay.
can do them together and place
Okay, all right.
Sylvia's name.
Let me
Replace.
let me redo it then. I make a
Okay.
motion that we accept Sally Ferris's resignation from the nominating committee and accept Sylvia Campos's
Acceptance.
acceptance to be on the nominating committee. Thank you.
Okay.
I second
been
the
made,
motion. Julie Rogers.
Julie, second. All in favor? By raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the motion carries. Thank you, ladies, for that. I believe that that is the sum total of what I had for, let's see here, just want to make sure. Oh, the last thing I did want to say, mention is I did do a snippet of on your agenda. I did clip that convention workshops guest speaker request. And Charlotte McKenzie is the one that sent me the email, and ultimately we had a conversation. And they are looking for speakers. They want at least 2 speakers for the convention. And right there in the middle is the topic. And I don't know if y'all pulled this, but it says, Happy New Year to all. On behalf of the League of Women Texas Service to Local Leagues Committee, we are in the process of planning workshops for the upcoming 2024 League of Women Voters Texas Convention, which will take place April 19th through the 21st in Dallas, Texas. League of Women Voters Texas members look forward to the workshops, and we would like to invite you or someone from your league to be a speaker for the workshop listed below. Please let me know the names of possible speakers per their area of expertise. And the topic that they are looking at this point is how we live the League of Women Voter Texas vision. And it's a general, it's a panel member that they're looking for. And what she told me was, I don't know if when you go to conventions, sometimes they'll have a repeat of a session. Or they'll have more than one session or a repeat of one session. And they're thinking about doing this. And so what I suggested to her was perhaps maybe we could have 2 speakers from here if we can, and have one person speak at one session, and that same session have a second speaker, if that's what you guys would like to do. And if you have any desires to be part of this, please let me know so that I can get back to her and let her know what our decisions are. Now, this is for April, but I think it's the 19th through the 21st. I don't know, I don't have a schedule yet of the sessions, but if you would like to have your name put in there, I'm going to attend. And if you'd like to have your name put in, let me know, and I will certainly do that. And I'm going to get back to her after we have our meeting.
Madam President,
Oh.
I want to note that in past conventions, we've been represented on several occasions with some outstanding presentations. Julie and Tim, I can't remember if Tim was your partner on Julie when y'all did a convention workshop a couple of years ago.
Well,
But-
Sally and Tim did it.
And Sally Ferris has been a part of it. Sometimes our league president might be involved in a meeting with just presidents. And so it just depends on how workshops fall, but we've done a great job over the years to be represented. And it's really nice to get the call from the Texas League.
Yes.
I-
So yes, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I might have missed it. Where is this taking place?
It's in Dallas,
Oh, okay, cool.
April
Oh,
19th
yeah.
through the 21st.
I was honestly thinking of using my like professional development money with my job at Texas Rising to go up for it, and I thought that'd be fun. So
Yeah,
That'd
well,
be
might as
awesome.
well.
I don't
It's
have
really
any
fun to
anybody's money to
see.
go, but I'm gonna go.
See you
Yes.
there.
It's pretty
Okay.
cool to see how they run everything. Like,
Yeah.
my favorite part of the convention was when we passed the positions. I love the workshops too, but to see how wonderfully they have it set up, because they have like mics for where people have a chance to
time.
go for and against, and they have a timer, and it's the most beautiful like art of democracy in action. So I would be so happy if you could go. That is wonderful.
It's well synchronized and coordinated. Yes, indeed, for that.
It's gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I have
if
a
you
question.
want anybody wanting to have their name submitted, and if you have a specific presentation that you want to give, let me know that. Send it to me in an email, and I will pass this on to Charlotte.
Yeah, Alex, too, the other thing was that national staff was there. And so they assign, like Texas has a national like organizer, and they were all younger, and it was no offense to anyone. I'm old. But it was really nice, like to see, like, because sometimes you hear everyone go, oh, the league is just old white people. but you got to see that it really wasn't like that.
Right.
And I think also remember that the state convention really draws under 150 delegates. It's not a huge group, so it's a great way to network. And I think we need to be mindful. You know, we were asked if Corpus Christi would host this convention, and the board declined. But be ready for that other invitation to come up for 2026.
Right. And we could learn from it. That's
We
really
haven't
good.
hosted
And that
since
was another thing.
2006, I think, was the last time Corpus Christi hosted. So, you know, it's a great opportunity to make some good impressions. And there's a lot of work with the state convention, but the state board does most of it. And it's really just on the ground boots. And so be watching for that, those nudges up there, whoever goes. But it's annual convention is always good.
So just send me shoot me an email, and if you have a specific session that you like to present, send that to me too, and I'll make sure that Charlotte gets this because I'm going to have another conversation with her.
All right.
Okay.
I have one more. I have a question before we adjourn. Is it all right?
Okay. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out the calendar because there are these requirements, as we were talking about the budget amendment, where we have to send things out to membership. And,
yes,
you know, one is, and Chris has always been real good about announcing in the voter that we should start taking program planning recommendations or program recommendations right now, really, because, and if you'll see my report, it tells everyone you have to have it like 2 months in advance because the board has to vote on it. And then it goes to membership, and that has to go 1 month in advance. So I just, one of the reasons I love our organization is I tell people, well, the reason we've been around, you know, 78 years here in Corpus, but over 100 in the States is we've learned the hard way and have a lot of good processes and rules to make sure that we run right. And we're doing that. But because of that, I cannot remember when we said we were going to have the annual meeting. They were in May, and I feel like we said maybe we were moving it to June, which it makes a big impact on the next couple of months because it's here. And so thank you, Chris, for whatever we can do to help Chris, because she's doing the voter guide right now, but she almost immediately starts moving into the workbook, which is huge. And so we all need to do what we're doing now and help each other, but we got to have some command of the timeline. So it's June.
It's June.
Is when we're going to have it. Okay.
Yes. And I'm glad, Julie, that you brought that up because I was studying some of the policy earlier today and yesterday, and I noticed that most everything takes place with some precursors. So yeah, 2 weeks here, a month there, or a meeting here, or 2 meetings there, and I really was suffering from not having a timeline. And I thought to myself, I need to sit down and put this in a timeline and make sure that everybody gets it, because yes, it's upon us. Some of the deadlines for aspects of our organization all of it is based on agreements, based on the membership knowing, based on letting people know and having that timeline in place. So what I'm going to do is go back through. I had a bunch of highlighting stuff that I thought I needed to be mindful of. So I'm going to go back in and take a look at that and put that timeline together so that we'll know, each of us will know what we have to do when it has to be done as a reminder. I know everybody's not looking at the policies and
a lot of what you're talking a lot of what you're talking about, Madam President, is in the bylaws, but we'll also need to have a bylaws amendment if we are going to move from May. I think the month of May is mentioned in the bylaws as the annual meeting. And so if we shift it to June, which we might need to do is for budget purpose or whatever, that's a budget, excuse me, an amendment to the bylaws. And so we don't want to forget that. Easy to do it, but it's going to have to go through the process. But your bylaws really tell you everything. So get a glass of wine and start reading.
We
Like
did.
Chris, everyone, we did at the last annual meeting. That's why I couldn't remember. We moved it to get in sync with the financial calendar. That's why I thought we did move it to June.
We did.
Yeah,
so
I don't remember if it was a vote.
We need to make sure. I feel like we did.
I
don't know, but
we'll have to look back at Liz's minutes.
Yeah.
But
I don't think we moved it to June, but I'll double check. So
okay, so we need to know all that, because what it is that somewhere in my head I feel like we moved it to June. And if that's the case, then April is like our big deadline when the board votes on the program for next year. Then we send that out to the membership, and that has to be a month before. But
for them to be aware.
Communication, that's us and communication with membership. And this is the beauty of like being able to learn from each other. And I'm like in my 4th year now. And so what happens though is we can do all that, but we have at the same time that workbook is being worked on. So we have to make sure all that's in sync. So that was my question and a reminder. I feel like we moved it to June, which means April is a really big month for us.
Right.
Yes, it is. And I have here our bylaws saying something. Well, when we actually had there shall be at least 9 regular meetings, and we have that of the board directors annually, and their dates and locations will be determined by the board during its June retreat. I'm almost sure I remember us having that conversation as well. But I've had a lot of conversations since then, and stuff just runs together. And unless I'm looking at this stuff every single day, I don't commit it to memory. I try to keep good notes, but even those fail me sometimes. But what we can do is I'm going to scour that again, because I did look at some of those dates and I kept thinking to myself, okay, we are kind of behind the 8 ball here. We need to get busy. And so I'm going to do that, and I'll send it out. I'm going to try to do it this week, and I'll send it out, all the things that we need to do and our deadlines and how soon we need to jump on these things, if that will work for you guys.
And that would be important to include in the voter.
Yeah, all that. I mean, I think the kernel of this discussion is we jump now. That's kind of what I've learned from. I used to think that you could wait and keep on, but it's kind of like right here, whether it's. I remember something about a benefit of moving it to June wasn't just for the financial budget reasons, to be in sync, but also it was really hard to find places to meet in May. One of my ongoing themes, and to get a quorum because the graduations were going on.
Yes.
We were like, oh, that's going to be really good because we'll do it in June. But I'm just find where that. I mean, that's my remembrance of it.
I remember. Go ahead.
I'll look. I've got it. I've got it.
You got it?
I'll look.
Okay. We appreciate that.
Remember. One quick thing before we adjourn and all, guys, early voting starts February 20th, Tuesday, not the 21st. That was said multiple times. It's February 20th through March 1st. So please make sure we don't want to cheat a person out of a day.
Right. But February 19th is President's Day, right? That's a holiday.
Yeah,
so
that's
that's
a federal
going
holiday.
on Tuesday.
So it starts Tuesday, February 20th, and goes through March 1st, which is a Friday. Yes. And then I've also looked up for runoffs, but we'll deal with that when we get in after we get through this. So, and I'll double check as soon as we leave. I'll double check about this moving to June. I honestly don't remember anything about that, but I will go look for it in my minutes.
Well, Catherine is there. Catherine, don't you remember us having a discussion on this? Would you mind weighing in on something?
It seems like it, but off the top of my head, I can't remember. Sorry.
Okay.
So I'll go back and look through all of my folders and see what I can see there. And then if I see something with respect to that, then I will let you know.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Because
glad you got folders
way-
because I just got papers everywhere.
let me just lay it out a little bit too. The way it makes a difference is the board has to approve the program recommendations 2 months before. And so that means that the next meeting is March, and we meet now on the next meeting is March 4th. Is that correct?
Yes, but you yes.
Yeah. And so if we haven't moved the the annual meeting to June, then we need to have on our board agenda next month the program for the next year. Right? Everybody see why I'm kind of being a little pushy.
There's no way we can just move it to June and then kind of do the backwards and then
No,
I mean,
no, we can't do that. I don't think. I'm sorry to react
trying
like
to
that.
offer options and all because
There's no options. The options are what's in our rules. And the deal is like, I would love to be able to be creative, but we can't because we have to practice what we preach and we have to do what it says we're gonna do. And it's no big deal. It's not that big a deal as much as we follow the rules, which means that for me, I have to know because it's a short little month. And that means we got 3 weeks to have a program for next year. That also, I see Sally and Ruth Sally is not on the committee anymore, but Ruth is nominating and Eli. That means too that, all that has just got to come together. It's a matter of a month apart. I don't want to alarm anyone, but I also want to make sure everybody understands how the calendar works. And it's only because I kind of learned the hard way, and I don't want people to have to do that.
Okay, I'm looking at this section 4 action by the annual meeting. And the annual meeting shall act upon the program using the following procedure. The board of directors shall consider the recommendations sent in by the voting members 2 months prior to the annual meeting and shall formulate a proposed program. There's that 2-month thing. The proposed program shall be sent to all members 1 month before the annual meeting. And then C, a majority vote of voting members present and voting at the annual meeting shall be required for adoption of subjects in the proposed program as presented at the annual meeting by the board of directors. So there's your 2-month and 1-month intervals.
Right. But the way it makes a difference is whether we're going to do it between March it's either March or April. And so that's like soon. And sometimes I think that's the beauty of it. Like it's a good way to remind people we're democratic and we're grassroots. And so no one's getting paid for what they're doing. Everybody's doing the best they can. But these are the deadlines that we have to follow. And so we can meet them. That's not a big deal.
Yes, we can.
But we have to meet them. And so we need to figure out whether we're going to be doing the meeting in May or June, because it actually just makes a big difference for planning.
Okay.
I'll
Sally has
continue on for a few minutes. I found them.
Hang on, Liz. Sally has her hand up.
Okay, but
Sally,
I
did
found
you
them.
want to add something to this conversation? You're muted.
Was Sally there?
There you go.
Here I am. It's long puzzled me how we manage logistically to promulgate a program 2 months in advance when officially we don't know who our program vice president is going to be for the coming year. Do you understand my question? And
Yeah.
I'm no longer a member of the nominating committee, but I'm hoping that if we put together a program 2 months in advance of the annual meeting, that Julie will be there to see it through. Now, I don't know, since I'm no longer a member of the nominating committee, whether or not Julie is going to be here to see that new program through. Julie, can you tell us?
Well, what I have told the nominating committee is that I would do anything organizationally that makes sure we succeed. I've been in the position for 2 terms or 4 years. I don't mind serving again. I don't know if it's healthy. Not only for me, that's not the bigger question. But if we're trying to teach people how to be a grassroots democratic organization, sometimes it's good to have different rotations. And so it's not something I want to decide. I think it's something the membership should decide. And before the membership, the board should. And that's why it's so important.
So go ahead, Liz.
I'm looking at the minutes that I took and submitted to y'all for approval. As far as I can tell, there's nothing in here about moving the annual meeting from May to June. And I was not at the July workshop because I was having back surgery. Is that something that y'all discussed at then?
I can't remember when we discussed it, but I do remember having this conversation. I remember that.
I'm the same way. I can't.
I'm not.
I just remember there was a lot about the finances and then that graduation thing that it would be better. But that's
yes. And I don't know who took minutes. I can't remember. Well, Anel's come online. Anel, do you have something to add to this?
and Annelle's doesn't feel real great, so sorry.
Yeah,
I'm listening and I got something to say.
Okay, can you turn up your volume?
Oh, let me move my thing down. Is it possible that it was brought up at the actual annual meeting?
It's not in the minutes.
It's not in the minutes from the
Not that
annual
I
meeting,
have.
not the retreat.
Well,
It's
and
not in the minutes.
Okay.
I think Chris took the minutes at the retreat. That was my first retreat, and I know Chris was covering for for Liz at the retreat. And we should have minutes from that.
Yeah, I remember.
You have
yeah.
minutes. You have full minutes that I
right.
turned in.
Let me refresh your memory real fast here. When we went through it, we had the approval of the minutes from the last meeting, so the 22. Then we had discussion of adoption of the proposed budget. And then we had discussion and adoption of proposed program and proposed updates. There was a motion about those. There was about the Observer Corps. Then there was about the unit-based, position-based advocacy. There was connecting us with the state and national league resources. There was providing updates for the meetings for DEI. Then there were proposed meetings on local positions for public transportation. A local position on tourism. And then final review of these local positions on local government law. And then there was a big discussion, animated discussion about including all school districts in Nueces County about the method of electing school board trustees. That's it. There's no mention about changing dates. Now, maybe that was something
Okay,
discussed in July, but it isn't in the meeting from May.
so is President Hawkins, is there a way, like today, do we have enough of a quorum to make a motion to set the annual meeting in June?
Yes, we have a quorum. We can do that.
We
Because
have
if we
five.
don't, if we don't do it, I don't
know.
I
know.
know it's gonna
We
put us
need to do
behind
it.
because we don't meet enough. We won't meet, so I don't have a problem with that. We can do that now. And that way that'll solve much of our timeline problem so that we can have the proper timeline from from proposal to bringing it to the general meeting and then coming back. I don't have a problem with that. Would you like to make a motion to that effect?
Yes,
Hang on,
Julie,
hang on just a second. Stop just a second. Okay, so we're doing a proposal, an amendment on moving the annual membership meeting from May to June. Is that correct?
yes, I want to make a
Okay.
motion to move the annual membership meeting from May to June.
Okay. I second.
Okay, it has been moved and second that we move our annual meeting from May to the month of June. All in favor? Please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have a quorum. We have the ayes have it. Any nays? So the motion to move our meeting, our annual meeting from May to June passes. Let the minutes reflect that we will have our meeting, annual meeting in June.
Okay.
And at this point, we can select a date, but as long as we move it out so that it'll give us ample time to try, well, not ample time, but it'll give us time to meet all of our windows that we are supposed to meet according to the rules and regulations.
Okay. All right. I want to make sure that I have everybody down here who voted. All right. Eli, Julie, Alice, Alex, Sandy, and myself. So that's 6 of us. So we have a quorum. I want to make sure
I
that
didn't vote. I didn't vote.
Yeah, I
I
have
only
you
vote to
down.
break a tie. I break a tie.
Oh,
But we do have 5 people saying
we have
yes.
5. Okay. Okay. I thought you voted, Alice. Okay.
No,
All right.
I didn't.
Okay. A quorum established, because I'm gonna put that in the minutes. I think that's real important since
Absolutely.
since we're moving things around. So, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be impatient. I'm just trying to
It's okay.
make
It's
make
okay.
sure I get stuff down. Okay. All right.
Alice, I think it's important in this next voter, which I hope we'll get out by mid-February, but we're already there, so I'm not sure about that. But
Yeah.
if we mention to membership that the board has voted to move the annual meeting from May to June, you're not going to hear from anybody. You're
No.
really not. But it will require an amendment to the bylaws. And I think that's all you have to say. You can say, if anyone has a question, call me, and I guarantee you won't get any question but I think part of the discussion was having that meeting in May, which meant the budget had to be reconciled and everything by the end of April. Every treasurer has always experienced that crunch to try to have everything ready for May, knowing that you needed to finish your budget by April 30th, or at least the record keeping. I think it makes perfect sense. But I think we ought to have a little board report that mentions this as well as some other things.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. And I do remember us talking about this crunch for the financial report. This conversation has been had, and I know that, but I guess we didn't, finalize anything. So I do appreciate everybody being willing to hear everybody out and have that agreement. Are there any other issues or concerns that anybody needs to have a discussion on or needs to mention? I do have one thing I want to say. This is a bit of nostalgia. I was
Um,
looking, go ahead.
Alice, just quickly,
Yes,
this is
yes.
Catherine.
Go ahead. I'm sorry,
Um,
I didn't see your hand.
I just want to make sure, looking back here, looking at the meeting section of our bylaws, and
Yes,
I think we should include in, Liz, in this, discussion and movement, that this is Article 7, meetings. And this would be Section 2, annual meeting. And so if you look, all of that is stated in the annual meeting workbook from 2023. And so the first section, 2 is where it sets, it's that it's held in May,
yes,
date to be determined. And
yes.
then the other part that needs to be addressed and changed is section, where is it? I lost it. Yeah. And the Financial Oversight Committee, because you may want to think about, because it was conducted annually in June. And so
Yes,
you would need to address that section of Article 7 as well, meetings.
okay.
Good
Thank
point.
you, Catherine.
Yeah, because that ends up being a part of when we send out the 2 month, that 2 month thing, you got to send out the bylaw changes, the program recommendations. And so,
yes,
I don't know,
Yeah,
is there a
exactly.
bylaw committee, right? Is there,
Yes.
wouldn't,
I don't, has
anyway, that
anybody, yeah,
moving it does let us accomplish that, but that all has to be sent out um to the membership ahead of the
Right.
meeting.
so I have a question here on the bylaw committee is, that's not necessarily a standing committee, but it's supposed to be looked at, what, every 2 years? Did I read that right somewhere? Okay,
well,
so,
yeah,
so we did bylaws last year.
but you're
So,
anticipating a move, so there needs to be a
Right.
bylaws committee, in my opinion, right
Right.
now
okay,
with 3
Right.
okay,
people.
so, okay,
Yeah.
hold up. So what I'd like to do is incorporate or get all of the executive committee together and break out the bylaws and divide and conquer. Does anybody have anything to say about that? Yay or nay? Or
You really ought to add a couple of non-board members. That's how you're
I can do
training them
that.
for
I
the
can do
future.
that, Chris. But I
Mhm.
want to make sure that the executive board is going to take part in this, or at
I have
least those who are here.
I have no problem taking part in it, but until about Valentine's Day, I'm not going to get much done. So I don't know what our timeline is. I've got a week or two where I just am not going to be able to do much. But after that, I don't mind buckling down.
Okay. Does anybody else have any restrictions in their schedule? Because here again, this is a learning process, and I think it would help for everybody to kind of be involved, even if they don't, if you're not involved from beginning all the way to the end, but at least have some input and understand the process. Even though you may not follow it all the way through, I think it's so important because we have new members. I'm new at this, and we can always, there's always room for learning, and I'm in a learning curve. So, and I know that everybody else is, and I know Alex and Eli have been baptized by fire with these voter guides. So it's important that we can all come together because much of what we are doing is all connected in some way or other. So if we can have a meeting sometime this month, uh, and sit down and take a look. I'll try to get some stuff together so we can be able to do it, and we can even do it by Zoom because when we were Anel and I were working on the bylaws and the policy, and I think Chris was there with us and a couple other people. We did it by Zoom. So if it has to be by Zoom and that keeps everybody kind of comfortable in their own homes and not have to get out and drive, if that's going to work for us, I really would like to have that. So at this point, I'd like to get some idea of what day of the month, what day of this month that we can all kind of come together. If you have calendars right now, and we can kind of take a look and maybe have two sessions, but we need to get started.
Alice,
Al,
Yes,
this is Julie. Last time we did bylaws, I think some people are on the call that were here.
yes.
And Sally was on that committee. So it'd be nice because she's familiar with it. But I'm looking at bylaws and policy guide review. And so that committee is appointed by the board. And so today you could
I
start
just
making
did.
appointments.
Just
Okay.
did.
I didn't hear who you appointed.
The executive committee.
Okay.
I just
And
did.
I would say that since Sally was on the board, that I was just suggesting you add her.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Sally, are you
really, we
listening?
need one bylaw changes to move the meeting to June.
Sally?
I think she's gone.
I'm here.
No,
Oh, she's there. I'm sorry.
She's there. Sally, would you be willing to help us on this bylaw committee?
I would, of course, at a distance, I would be limited to Zoom meetings.
Well, and we got that. And if it ever came down to us meeting in person, we could still bring you in on a Zoom. Also, is Anel still here?
Yeah.
Anel?
Yes.
In the event that, because you two were that on that, in the event that you feel better, would you be willing to number one, manage the Zoom, and number two, if you had some input because you were on that, you were on the budget committee, you were on the bylaws committee, because I was on those committees and I remember.
I was on
So,
it too.
so we have, yes, and yes, Liz was on one of those. So could we all agree to be a part of the bylaws committee? I
Yes.
realize that this is a lot of people, but I also know that people are busy. And if we can't have one or two there, we could have somebody else there so that we can fill in and take copious notes so we can remember. Collectively, we need to remember. Okay, I got a couple
The
of hands
Zoom was
up.
the Zoom was a good thing because we could put it up on screen where everybody could
Yes,
see it, and we made changes
yes,
in
yes,
real time. And so it's
yes.
not as
Make the changes.
difficult as it seems.
Yes. Okay, I got a couple of hands up. Catherine, and
yes.
then
Okay,
Liz.
just wanted to let you know, if you again look at the annual meeting from last time, our local chapter policy guide under section 4, and it's about bylaws and policy guide review. That's H. And so again, just being aware. One of the things that it says, this committee is appointed by the board and is responsible for producing the content of these two documents, bylaws and policy guide review. Both documents are subject to board approval before the bylaws are submitted to the LWV Texas. Remember, it has to go to them. And the
Yes.
policy guide is published for the general membership. And then
Yes.
both are then included in the annual workbook. So there are two different documents that have to be included in this.
Okay. So I have a question, and I do remember being on both of those committees. Hang on just a second, and I'll get you, Sally. I do remember being on those committees, and we did take a couple of turns in order to solidify all of it, but or to change everything and get it typed up and written out. And as Anel has said, when we come back to look at it, maybe take the second look, anything that we need to change or whatever from the first. to the second, if we need the second, then it can be done in real time. And so I think that maybe it will require us to have two meetings, one for the state and one for our local, as Catherine has indicated. So we can get busy on the first one, and then we can then work on the second one. Sally, go ahead.
For the sake of efficiency and correctness, could whoever has custody of these documents pay us the courtesy, those of us who are going to serve, of sending us credible, up-to-date copies of those documents, copies that can be edited or that we can insert edits into to be shared with the rest of the committee members. And we should do that in advance of it, well in advance of our first committee meeting, so that we have an opportunity to review and put together our tendered language.
Okay, so if let me make sure I understand what you're saying. You would like to have a copy of the most updated policy information, and so that we can look at it, and if we have any, we can put our own personal recommendations on there, and when we come together, we can bring that to is that what you're saying? We can make the changes like that? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's important that they be editable copies, so that we can redline and insert redlined text into them to share with the rest of the committee.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like we did last time.
Like we did last time, but
Yeah.
I have what I'm relying on now is to be 2022 copies of both those documents. But I believe that I probably took those copies from other sources. I would want to make sure that we're all singing from the same hymnal and we all have the same copies.
Yes, okay. Liz, did you have your hand up?
And just real quickly, could you tell me who's going to be on this committee? Have we firmed it? I've just got Sally and Alice and myself. Who else?
Anel.
Anel?
We did make an amendment when we did the last set of bylaws and policy guides, and that should be in the hands of either the former president and the final copy of it, I believe I probably have.
Yeah,
I'll
because
look, but it won't be tonight.
yeah, because the final copy is what we put in the bylaws in the annual meeting workshop book.
The workbook.
In May of
because
2023.
we had to vote at that meeting. Well, it should be in the 2023 annual meeting.
Yeah.
The amended version should be in there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It is, because all the votes that we took at the annual meeting in May of 2023 were concerning the amendments.
Well, what has to happen, whoever has that file needs to be able to send it out. And that's what Sally is asking, is that we have a file that we can actually edit and amend. So when we come together, we can talk about that. Now, Anel, the last time was able to put it up on the screen. The copy she had was a live copy. She put it up on the screen. We talked about each item that we thought we needed to change and add to or take from. And she was actually making those changes as we had our conversation.
Right. That's right.
So I think that that's what we need to do. So I'm going to be on the committee. Anel has volunteered. Sally has volunteered. Elizabeth is volunteered. Is there anybody else? And Catherine, would you grace us with that, with your presence as well? To whatever extent that you can?
To the extent that I can.
Okay, and no pressure. And then Julie? Yes.
No, that's not what I'm volunteering for.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at, I love our workbooks. Thank you for everyone who makes that happen. So I keep them by my desk, and I'm looking at 77th, and that's when we had a vote the last vote on proposed amendments to the bylaws. When I look at the 2023 and the annual meeting agenda, we didn't vote on any changes to the bylaws.
The vote was in 2022,
Two. Yeah,
and so the
So-
amended version should be in 2023.
it is. And so
Okay.
that's where I'm going with it. And it's okay because all we have to do is change that one section 7. It's in my notes too, and Catherine pointed it out. What is it? Section 7,
Article 7,
Article 7,
Section 2.
Section 2. All we have to do is change the word May to June. That's all that really needs to happen.
It's
I
up,
agree.
Like
If
we don't have to have a bunch of meetings or anything. I don't mean it bad. That's the change.
If you have to do it every 2 years and your last vote was in 2022, seems to me like it's the 2 years is running this year.
That is true. It would be. I am not aware of that. That's a deadline I'm not aware of. I'm so sorry. The reason I brought this up is because of those other deadlines of sending the stuff out to membership, which means that the April versus March. And we've all said we want to move the annual meeting to June. In order to do that, we just need to have the bylaws committee make the amendment that we want to, that one place that we move it to June. It won't have been voted on. So I don't know. It's kind of a quandary.
Well, if that's
I
all
feel
we
like
need,
that information is captured somewhere. I don't know why I remember so much that we said it was going to be in June.
Is Chris still here?
No,
Chris,
she's gone.
Because she entered, I mean, she does the annual workbook. And since it was put into the annual workbook, she would have a copy of that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my history on it.
Yeah, no, I always keep the workbooks. I'm looking at them.
No, I
Well-
mean the physical copy that's like a Microsoft Word document.
you mean
Chris
the
should
copy
have
that's
that.
manipulated?
Right.
Yes.
She should have the latest version of that.
So
does.
what you're saying is all we need to do is go in that and change the dates, and we have basically accomplished our goal. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
I think so.
That's what
So-
Julie's saying, and I'm saying that the version that we need to do that should be in current residence with Chris.
Okay,
She should
okay.
have a workable version.
Yeah.
So all we need to do then is maybe have one meeting
Right.
and agree on that. And then we can make that change, put it into a law or whatever you want to call it, and then we can move forward. Is it that simple?
It's
I
not
think
though.
so.
That's what Catherine's pointing out. The reason it becomes not as simple and more urgent is if we're going to change the bylaws, unless they're changed somewhere that we're not aware of, it has to go to the Texas League.
Not until
And then
after we
back-
finish, not until after everything's been approved. If I remember correctly, it all goes after it's been approved.
Right.
So it doesn't need to be done and then set off the state of Texas and everything. It just needs to be done locally. And then after it's all said and done and voted on, then we send it off to the state.
That's correct. But how are we going to have the meeting in June without those votes? That's what I'm asking. Right now, our bylaws say the meeting is in May.
So
I
then
don't-
that means we have to change that first, and then any other changes falls after that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we've had a motion to change the meeting to May.
Yeah,
I mean to June.
to June.
June,
And so
yes.
that's done already. Now we need to change the bylaws to June. And in order to change those bylaws, doesn't it have to go to the state and then
Yes.
back to us?
Not in all cases, Julie. they're only, I forget exactly what it is, but there's just some critical, I think it's the first 3 introductory sections of our bylaws that are subject to state approval. Now, I'm
Okay.
shooting from the hip on that.
I don't know anything about it, except for we just need that one word changed somehow.
If a member of your board would now make that motion, right? You've already made the motion, right? And you've approved it,
We
correct?
did. We've made a motion. It was seconded and we voted to change it to June.
Well,
Yes.
if perhaps someone could make a second motion that that it be researched whether or not it's necessary to send that amendment first to the state.
I
And if
think a
it's
phone
not,
call. I
and
don't
if
think
it
it
is
has to
not,
be a
then
vote.
we proceed and rely upon that vote that you just took to change your annual meeting date without further ado.
Okay, okay. I'll get you in just a second, now. I can make a phone call to the state and ask that question and get an answer right away as to whether or not, as to the actual sequencing of what we need to do. And I can do that because they get in touch with when you have a question and you send it up there within 24 to 48 hours, you got a response. So I can call and find out. I just need to make sure that I'm asking the right questions so that I can get the right answers. Okay. And I can, so I need to make sure I understand how to ask this question so I can get the proper answer. So my question to them would be, if we change our, what date am I calling this? Our annual meeting day, from, or month from May to June, then what changes in our bylaws and our policy need to follow?
Pretty much. So
Is
our
that
bylaws right now reflect May. And we
okay?
want to change the meeting to June. And we've had a motion through the executive committee and it passed to do that.
And I think the further,
change
excuse me, Julie.
And then just one other thing you need to look at under the bylaws, under the very last Article 12 amendments. The very last word, the last sentence there is amendments will be effective upon approval at the annual meeting in May.
So that
that's
changed to June.
Yeah.
So everything in May goes to June.
Yep.
Okay. Right?
Perfect. Yes.
Right. So I'm gonna make a phone call tomorrow and see if I can get some answers, and I'm gonna follow up with an email to Ms. Marchand and find out what the status of this is and to what extent do we need to make these changes and how soon, so that we can be in lockstep with our calendar.
Okay.
With the requirements of the calendar and the
That's it.
policy.
That's it. Got it.
Okay. Well,
Thank
well, I
you.
can do
And
that.
ask them, can we change this year's annual meeting to June?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Even
what
if
I
it's she's
need
just
to find
read, I'm
out is
not
what
sure
we
we
just
can.
did. Is it lawful what we just
Yeah.
did?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Then you can email us or whatever, like you said, and we can always do email votes. So thank you.
Yes. So did we want to settle on a date?
For what?
I would say
get
to a
your
date.
questions
You're breaking up,
first,
Anel.
and then what?
You're
I don't know.
breaking up.
I was just saying, let's get. I don't know what to do.
Ask the question and then find it, and then we'll
Does that
set
help?
Okay. Yeah, I can find out what the answer is, and then we can make I can send you a message, and y'all can choose a date.
Yes, that's the way to
Okay.
do it. That's the
Okay.
way to do it. That's
All
the way
right.
to do it.
Okay, is there anything else we need to have a discussion on? We are just
Late.
a little overtime, despite well, we're about 18 minutes over our time, but
Uh-huh.
I think this is a good discussion because we
No,
are
it's
all
really good.
in
Yeah.
in a learning mode, and we do need to do a double step and get back in sync with our calendars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
We're good.
All right. Yes. Anel, thank you for coming on. Even though you're sick, I can see that you're not feeling well at all. So I appreciate your hanging in there with us. Sally, thank you for being willing to sit on our committee. Now, let me just make sure we have all the names of the committee members so that Liz can put them down, and we'll have enough to have that. Now, Catherine said as she can, she's offered to be here. Sally is going to be part of it. You're going to be part of it. I am going to be part of it. Julie is going to be part of it. And Sandy has agreed. And so Anel is that. So we've got anybody else? Eli, are you still there? Would you want to be
Yes.
part of that?
I would be happy to be included. Thank you.
Okay, so
Okay.
that gives us 2, 4, 6, that'll give us 7 people,
Okay.
and 8 with Catherine, but she says she's gonna be in and out, so.
Let's stop just a second. Let me go back over it to make sure. Okay, you've got Alice, Sally, Anel, Liz, Julie, and Eli. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 people. And Catherine is 7.
Put Catherine's name there, but
That
we
is.
know that, she may be in and out.
Right. She is.
Also, I
Okay.
heard my name recited, but I
Oh,
don't know if I'm
Sandy,
on
are
or
you
off.
on it? I'm
I
sorry.
said it. Did you put Sandy's name down?
No, Sandy, are
Okay.
you part of it?
Yeah, but my participation may be limited for the next week or so.
And I
Okay.
understand that. I understand that. But as
Okay.
long as we can get at least 5 people talking, that'll be enough.
Hopefully it'll just be one meeting and said and done with what you get from the state. I can't imagine the state giving us a difficult time about this.
Well, they probably won't give us a difficult time, but they just may give us what we don't want to hear. That's not difficult. That's just the law. So well, everybody needs to just do whatever you do when you pray or
Yeah.
meditate or whichever way you seek. Just
Yeah.
put in there that we want very little resistance.
Right. Right.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so if you have questions, send them to me. If there's nothing else, I am going to officially call our meeting to a close at 6:51 p.m.
Okay, wait just a second before everybody gets off. I did just send everybody on the board a copy of the annual meeting minutes of May of 2023. You should have all received it during the meeting, so you can peruse it and see.
Thank you.
Anyway, so okay, 6:51 adjournment. Thank you.
Yes. All right, guys, thank you so much. And now thank you
y'all.
again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
President
Thank you.
Hawkins.
Thank you,
Thank you,
y'all. Good
Sally.
night.
Thank you, Sandra. It's good
Good
to
night,
see you,
y'all.
Sandy.
Ha.
And you done went dark.